Hello, everybody. This is Ron Ake. I'm the host of Second Chances on Life podcast, where we help people with substance use disorders find the help, the love, and support that they need, and let them know that they too can find faith and break the chains of addiction just like I did. So, I want to talk to you today about something that's widespread everywhere, not just here in the United States. It's all over the world, but it's really prevalent right here in the United States, and that's about the way the substance abuse has started trending to go younger and younger, and same with alcohol, younger and younger. I started when I was about 15 years old, but back in those days, if you was going to smoke marijuana or something or take pills, you could smoke marijuana or take a pill and not have to worry about having fentanyl or whatever else in it. Nowadays, that's not the case. You could be buying a joint off somebody and just want to get high, and it be laced with fentanyl, and you're dead or you're addicted. And it's a dangerous world out there. And I had the privilege of speaking at the University of Oklahoma in a couple of classes, and I just loved the professor in these classes, but we got to speak on the effects of drugs and alcohol on society. And it was intimidating at first, I have to admit. But then once I got to talking about it and the kids started loosening it up, they started raising their hand, they started getting involved and asking questions. It really helped me a lot too, loosen up. And we started talking to one another on a one-to-one basis. And they had some really good questions and some input, and some of them stayed after class and offered to help me with this podcast because they know I'm old and I don't know how to do all this stuff. But something that hit me when I started talking to them was, I know from my own experience, and it's gotten worse, that the young people in this world, starting in like high school, especially into college, the culture is funneled to where they almost feel pressured, like they have to smoke and they have to drink and they have to do pills. And almost to the point to where when you start asking like a senior in high school, you can't hardly find one that hasn't done any kind of drugs or drank. It's just almost unheard of. I mean, it'd be like finding a needle in a haystack. And let alone going into college. You're away from the parents, and you're a free bird. You can make your own decisions right there. And all your friends are going to dollar beer night or whatever. I told them in my class, I think they said it might have been $2 Tuesdays or something like that. I was like, well, I can tell you that inflation has changed, because when I was y'all's age, we had penny beer night. And they thought I was lying. I was like, I'm not lying. We really had penny beer night. You could go in with a pocket full of change and be a high roller and buy the whole house around on you and be the popular guy of the night. But that's not the case anymore. And it really hit me. And I wanted to take time to kind of sit back and talk to you. My son's already out of all that, and he's pushing 29 years old and into real estate and everything now. And thank God he didn't follow in his dad's foot tracks of all the drinking and raising Cain and fighting and just being an idiot. He's got a lot better head on his shoulders than I did, and his mama's done a real good job with that. So I'm glad to say that he's taken more after her than he did me ever. But when I was speaking to those students at OU, I just realized that even way back in the 80s when I was in school, it was almost and I graduated from a private school, and it was still there, to where you almost feel obligated to drink and do drugs to fit in. And I just want to tell these young people out there, you don't have to give in to that. That is just the devil, and it's the devil's world out there, and that's what he's using to corrupt this world and kids. And if he starts them younger and younger and younger, like it's trending, they're more pliable and moldable. They're gonna fall into those type things. I was reading some statistics on today's addiction society, and the growing population of types of people with addiction problems are people under 21 and starting at around 13. And that's way too young. But starting from people from about 13 up to 21, going into rehab at those ages. And with the type of fentanyl that's out there and the dirty drugs and all that, the odds of survival are low. If you get a hold of some dirty drugs, and you never know if you're going to get it or not, because most of it is dirty nowadays, and it could kill you with one try. And I hate the fact that that's the case, and that young people feel so pushed into a corner and felt like culture and society is not going to accept them, and they're going to be an outcast or an oddball if they don't cave in and do the drinking and the drugs that everybody else is doing. Well, I want to tell you right now, if you have the strength to you, the mental control and the physical control to not go down that path and to lead by example and to take another path and another route and show other people that you don't have to do those type of things to still have fun, still be cool, and have a good time, you do not realize how many other people will follow you, because they're looking for that too, and they don't want to have to be suckered in and pulled into all that mess either. But it seems like it's so hard for somebody to take that stand and take that role and those steps, because they're afraid they're going to be shunned or an outcast or whatever. And so when the college students started raising their hands and asking questions and giving some input, it was really heartfelt and sincere. Some of them were asking, how I am now, if I've recovered, and got the help that I needed to get past all the issues and problems that I had. And I just thought that was great that they asked me that. One even asked me, how is your faith and relationship with God now compared to before? And I had been privileged to talk in front of a lot of different people, as guest speaker and stuff, and tell my story, and no one's ever asked me that, and that was awesome. And I had to pause for a moment and think, you know what? That's a great question, because when my dad died when I was 19 years old, and I blamed myself, and I kind of derailed and lost my compass, and just kind of went wild and crazy, and really didn't fear anything. And I was looking for someone to really beat me up good, and I knew how to process physical pain, exterior physical pain, but I did not know how to process this interior pain. And I just thought that if someone was to really whip me good, that I can somehow make this physical pain meet the internal pain, and somehow up here I'd be able to process it. And I derailed, and I went away from God for a long time. I was saved and baptized my senior year at More Christian Academy, and it was a pretty neat day in itself. I know the Lord had been working on me for weeks. At a private school like that, you have Bible course just like you do math and English. and we had a really good Bible instructor. I enjoyed Brother Ivan's teachings and got to know him on a personal level. And he was teaching, so we'd go to chapel every Wednesday, and he was up there speaking, and it had been weeks that the Lord had been working on me, and I'm white knuckling the pews. You've heard stories like that, where I'm sweating and I'm white knuckling the pews, and I don't want to go down, but the Lord's working on me. And finally, I just let go of the pew, and one foot in front of the other, and I go walking up there, and I've got tears coming down my eyes. And he looks me in the eyes and he says, "Ron, I told you you need to be a better example. You don't realize how many people are watching you." And I never wanted to be that person. Like I said earlier, I just want to do my thing. I don't want people watching me, wanting me to be a leader or anything like that. I just want to do my thing. And he said, "Look behind you." And I looked behind me, and my two brothers was coming down, and several of the people I played football and baseball with was coming down also to get saved and to ask to be baptized. And that was a powerful moment. And he said, "You need to use your influence for good." And I still, as powerful a moment as that was, and I was so happy to see everybody coming down, I still didn't want to be that person. I still wanted to be the person I was on Friday and Saturday nights at the bonfires, and drinking and raising Cain and doing everything else that young people do at those ages. So, but it was a pretty powerful moment to turn around and see that, and to know that me just stepping out had some positive influence, but it wasn't enough to really keep me there, And then once my dad died at 19, I really derailed, and I never went back to any of that for a long, long time. I'm 56 now, and I was 19 then, and I've only been sober for going on 2 years. It'll be 2 years in March. Be 3 months away. I'll be 2 years. So it's been a long life of hard knocks, and that's why we do this podcast, is to try to help keep other people from making the mistakes that I made. And you can be a lot better positive role model than I was. I had the opportunity. It was sitting right there in front of me. I just chose not to take it. And I regret that. I wish I had done things different. And it just makes me wonder how things might have been had I made better decisions along the way. But not making excuses, after my dad died, I did kind of lose my compass there. I was supposed to, I had everything planned out. I was taking computer-aided drafting and design. I was going to, I was in college. I was going to go to work for him. I was going to help with drafting and design and estimating and all that stuff. And then it was all taken away in the blink of an eye. And you're just kind of left out there in this old world trying to figure it out after that. And I'm not making excuses. I still had to own my own choices and mistakes, and but it's still, it is more difficult when you just are so confused or so angry and you don't really know what to do. But I want to get back to the subject of talking to young folks about, and it doesn't necessarily just on young folks. You can be that same person at work. If you're expected to act a different way than what you really want to be inside, then I think you could start working toward becoming who you really want to be. If, everyone knows you as the partier and the, lighthearted, guy all the time, and I've been that person too. Everyone just wants, hey, yeah, let's go ask Ron. He'll go have a drink with us. We'll go have a good time. And, if a fight breaks out or whatever, he's going to get your back. You can count on it. Well, that's not a lie. I probably would if we're out and something happens, and I probably would help, get you out of a mess if I could. But that's not who I want to be. I just soon be the guy that everybody leave alone, and I take off after work and go home and do my own thing. And I don't have to have other people looking to me to see what I'm doing and try to have me entertain them. That's just not what I want to do and what I want to be, especially nowadays. But it used to be at one point. I used to want to be the supplier of all the loud music, the rock and roll, and the drugs, the booze, the girls, everything. I used to be that person, and or try to be. I mean, it wasn't always, but we had some good times. I mean, and there was some enjoyable times, but I realize now, looking back, that some of that wasn't me. I was just falling into being a character that other people had me made up to be, and then I started trying to become more that person than really what I was, and it's not really what I wanted to be. And I hate it for young people nowadays feeling like they have to cave into this culture to drink and to do drugs and party and have sex and all that stuff. If that's not really what they want to do, they feel cornered into it and feel pressured into it. And I just hate it for them. I want to talk to you young people and just let you know that you don't have to give into that. It takes a lot stronger person to not cave into that. Just like I've said in other episodes, it takes a lot bigger, stronger person to turn away from drugs and alcohol and to be a positive role model and a positive leader than it does to cave in to be the other guy. And I just wish more of you knew that to be true. I know how hard it is to everybody around you thinking that you're going out and you're having a good time and all that, but are you really? Have you ever spent a night out drinking and spent a fortune at it and at that, and then how'd you feel the next morning? Are we really having that good a time? Because all it is putting poison in your system. I sound like an old fogey like when I say that, but it's true. I mean, I put more poison in my system with pills and booze over the years. It'll blow your mind. There's a book called A New Pair of Glasses, and the author says he was standing there on the beach looking out at the sea, and he's an alcoholic, and he's looking out at the sea and said, if it was all whiskey, it wouldn't be enough. And that just nails it. I mean, if I think back about how much volume of pills and booze I've put through my system, and the amount of money I've spent, the amount of pain I've caused myself and on other people, I don't know what makes us want to put that bottle to our head and pull the trigger. Because if you knew all these things ahead of time, I just wish they would advertise it that way. Here's you a bottle of poison. You're going to get a buzz, you're going to get high off of it, but it's going to wear off and you're going to need more and more of it to get back to that buzz. It might kill you, but there again, you might have a good time too. And I'm that dumb guy that said, well, heck, make mine a double. How smart are we? I mean, that's just, how good a time are we really having when we have to take pills or smoke or do drugs or drinking to think that we're having a good time? You know how many pregnancies has happened on those artificial good times? Yeah, they lower your judgment levels a lot. And we just think we're out having a good time. Well, then, you come up pregnant, or you get somebody pregnant, and then you got to give up your school and your nice car and your sports car and all that stuff, because it's time to be a grown-up now. So how good a time did we really have out there, guys? So I just want you to realize that it's dangerous. The drugs are not clean, they're dangerous anymore. Almost all of it's got something laced with fentanyl in it. You don't want to make the decisions of sleeping around under the influence. Those are unsafe. Let alone the dangers of hooking up with someone that's a stranger that might not be a safe individual to even be with. Those things happen all the time. All you got to do is turn on the news. I don't recommend that. I turn the news off and the radio because there's nothing good or positive out there to even watch or listen to anymore. So, but anywho, I just wanted to speak with young people today. I would like to be a little lighter hearted about some of this stuff and cut up and have fun and like I'd like to and be more myself. But these are serious issues and they need to be addressed and talked about. I've got nieces and nephews and family members that's grown up, and I hate to think that how many times they seen me probably drinking and just think that, hey, if Uncle Ronnie did it, it's okay or whatever. And it's not. I just wish I could have been a better example for all y'all, my son especially. But at least he had his mother to keep him on the straight and narrow and make better decisions than I did. But it's just the young people in this world, and us as the older people and the older generations, we need to educate them and let them know these things, that they don't have to do these things. I mean, the world's not going to. They're not going to see commercials talking about this to where you don't have to drink, you don't have to do drugs, to still be cool and have fun. You're never going to see these commercials. You're going to see commercials for vaping and doing drugs, and especially now that marijuana is legal, and doing alcohol that are just glamorized. And now that I know the pain and the misery and the trouble that all those cause on my life, it makes me angry to see how it's glamorized and advertised. And I don't wish that on nobody. And all we can do is just start being a better version and a better product of ourselves. We deserve it, and the loved ones deserve it. Your friends and family and everybody around you deserve the best product of you that you can produce. I truly believe that. And it's just one right decision in front of the other instead of a bad decision, one foot in front of the other in the right direction, and building a good foundation of people around you that are like-minded. If you feel like you don't want to drink and you don't want to do drugs and you don't want to be fooling around at this age or at this time, and you're in a group of people that kind of shun you for it or make you feel like you're an oddball, if that's the case, then you might need a better circle of friends. If you surround yourself with same like-minded people, it's going to be a lot easier for you to make the right decisions and to do the next right thing. It's going to be safer for you, and you're going to be a better product of yourself, and you're going to be able to be a shining example to others. And that's really what it's all about. Is we're put on this planet and we have this life and this one shot at this life to be the best version of ourselves that we can be, and to help others and not ourselves. The Bible talks about it all through it, is we're here to serve and help others and not ourselves. And I've already said it, that like Zig Ziglar said, if you help enough people in this world get what they need, in return you will get everything you need. And that is absolutely true. So put on that happy face. Yeah, it's a lot easier if you're sober than if you're hungover. And ask the Lord to forgive you for the mistakes you've made, and ask Him to strengthen you in your weaknesses. You got to appreciate the valleys and get through the valleys to appreciate the peaks. And remember, if you do mess up and you do get knocked on your face, I think the Lord allows that so you can push yourself up to your knees and look up to the sky and ask for help. Ask the Lord for forgiveness and help. He will never leave us, even though we leave Him. And you have to be broke to be fixed. We're too bullheaded and we're too stubborn and proud. And when things are going good, we don't give him the glory. We think it's all us, and it's not. We need to thank him for the good times and the bad, the happy and the sad. Just remember those. And remember that your feet are where they are. You and your feet are where they are at any given time. When things get bad, look down at your feet and realize the Lord has you where you need to be, right there, right then, for that reason. And it doesn't matter how young you are, you can still be a shining example and be a positive example. You don't have to go down the same misery and road that I went down or that these other people are going down trying to push you into. You can be a shining example to the world. And we're not going to change the world overnight, but we can sure start changing it one person at a time and helping each other. And that's what we're hoping to do with this podcast, is just help each other, help strengthen each other, and get a network between us. You know, if you hear something that you can relate to, or you know somebody that this might help, please send it to them. If you have means of helping us get this thing up and off the ground and donating to it, we're going to use every penny we get to try to help others. We're going to try to sponsor others and get them the help that we can, male and female, young and old. And we're just going to try to start trying to make the next right decisions way more often than not. I've had a lifetime of making bad decisions. It's time to make some good ones and spend my life trying to help others. So I hope you've gotten something out of this. Put your boots under your bed, make your bed. While you're under the bed on your knees, ask the Lord to forgive you and keep you sober today. And that's about all we can ask for, is just, Lord, please keep us sober today. Get to the Lord before the world gets to you. So I'm going to leave it right there. I wish you a blessed day, and reach out and help somebody in need. And if it's you in need, please ask for the help that you need, and don't be ashamed to ask for it. It takes a lot stronger person to admit there's a problem, go get help, than it does to just sit there and wallow in your misery, because it will kill you if it goes on. Well, I wish you guys well, and we'll just leave it at that. Thank you and God bless.